Eyes of Morohachi. See through Morohachi.
No. Mordecai?
Whoa!
What?
Whoa! Hello everyone and welcome back to your favorite show for all things gaming and very tech related, Gentoo. I'm Garrett Bevans.
Well, I'm Jonas Pelot. Thanks for tuning in to this week of Gentoo.
So let's check out what games are coming out this week.
I want to make a deal.
When you make a deal with the devil,
I give you blood to paint with.
you have to sign it in blood.
I will gladly give you some of my blood.
If you want to pay for it, you can have it. Yes.
In Murderous Muses, play as the gallery's night watch and explore its secrets over 3 days, whilst painting spring to life at night. Filled by the mysterious and scarce eyes of Mordecai. See through Mordecai's eyes to question suspects, unlock police interviews, and finally deduce who's the murderous muse. It's an infinitely replayable murder mystery blending deduction, exploration, puzzles, collectibles, and full motion video. Murderous Muses releases on April 12th for PC, PlayStation, and Xbox, with the Switch version coming soon.
Legends hold great power. They are the dreams we weave into our shared story. Some legends tell of peace and the beauty of simplicity. Some tell of
Experience
danger.
an epic legend for the Minecraft universe and the overworld as you've never seen it before. Discover the mysteries of Minecraft Legends, a new action strategy game where you explore the gentle land of rich resources and lush biomes on the brink of destruction. The ravaging piglins have arrived, and it's up to you to inspire your allies and lead them in strategic battles to save the overworld. Challenge your friends or team up in intense battles as you defend your village while leading your units to destroy your opponent's settlements. Minecraft Legends releases on April 18th for all major platforms.
Definitely check those games out for yourself, but now let's look at some other gaming news.
Asus is developing its very first gaming handheld PC, the ROG Ally, to compete with the Steam Deck. Asus is the first company within the US to try and create a handheld PC whose performance may surpass that of Valve's coveted device, so we'll just have to see.
Now, let's go local and see a Northwest's esports update.
Welcome back to the Esports Update. I'm your host, Jonas Pelot. In a disappointing turn of events, the JV Valorant team has lost their game this Monday to High Point University in a close 2-1 loss in a 3-game series. Winning Game 1, the Northwest JV team went into Game 2 with high hopes, but unfortunately, after a tough battle, lost Games 2 and 3 to High Point. This will put the JV Valorant team out of the playoffs, meaning both teams have unfortunately lost their slot in the playoffs, meaning that their season is over. In the news of the Northwest Esports League team, they unfortunately lost their game in the quarterfinals, putting them out of the playoffs after a 2-0 defeat. A demoralizing loss, hopefully to be recovered next season. In Overwatch news, after a bye week, the Overwatch team is excited and looking forward to the playoffs this Thursday at 7 o'clock. Into the semifinals, the Overwatch team is ready to stomp their way through and make it to the finals and win a title. Thank you for tuning into this week of the Esports Update. Make sure to tune in this Thursday at 7 o'clock to watch the Overwatch team play, and we'll see you next week for an update on the Overwatch team. And that's all we got right now for news. Make sure to subscribe, like, and turn on notifications to not miss our future episodes.
Now, let's watch this week's packs.
Sorry for the wait, Mr. Flores. I am ready to take you now.
Take me? Take me where?
Hello everyone and welcome back to Digital Digestion. Today, we dive into the underworld with a terrifying character, Land of the Dead travel agent Manuel Calavera from Grim Fandango. That's right, Manuel, or Manny, is a travel agent of all the newly dead in the Land of the Dead. Of course, to get to Eternal Rest in the Ninth Circle, it takes 4 years on foot to get there. Luckily, Manny is a fantastic agent who can get there with the best accommodations from trains, boats, and cars. Manny is actually stuck at the agency until his sins are forgiven before he can get his own rest granted to him, which, as you can tell, has almost been an eternity. Manny's luck soon turns around though when a so-called angel who hasn't done anything wrong in her life crosses paths at the agency. From there, Manny is thrown into a world of danger and deception. Manny is a very skilled and smart individual. Of course, since he is a salesman, he is honestly quite slimy. He starts off as selfish, only having his best interests at heart. The people who know him well are actually quite resentful towards him, but Manny doesn't care. He often teases, lies, and sarcastically insults his so-called friends and co-workers.
Lord. Well, at least you're not hitting the bottle anymore.
Too intimidated. I could never be partners with someone who was so much more of a man than me.
Oh, come on. I've seen your wife.
However, when Mercedes Colomar, the aforementioned angel, comes to the office for express ticket to her eternal rest, Manny makes a mistake and does everything in his power to fix the problem. This leads to a new Manny actually, a huge change in his character. From on out, he puts himself in harm's way to correct his mistake. This noble pursuit makes Manny have a hero complex of sort. His selfless nature is soon put to the side as he wants to help out those in need, no matter how hard it may seem. Manny honestly reminds me of old noir heroes in the golden age of Hollywood. Heck, his hobbies consist of drinking, smoking, and flirting, all tropes of guys back in the golden years. That does it for this week of Digital Digestion, and that was Manuel Calavera from Grim Fandango, a great dead character who finds new life. If you want to see any characters in the future, let me know down below who you want to see. I'm your host, Garrett Bevans, signing off. Have a good one.
Manny?
Yeah?
When we get to the next world...
What is it, Angel?
Are we going to be together?
You know, sweetheart, if there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Nobody knows what's gonna happen at the end of the line, so you might as well enjoy the trip.
My name is Gabriel Lozano, and welcome back to 10 out of 10, where we go over some of the best video games that are truly 10 out of 10s. Today, we're going to be going over Resident Evil Village. This sequel takes place a few years after the events of Resident Evil Biohazard. After the intense and terrifying game of Biohazard, Ethan and Mia seem to be doing great. They started a new family, and they have their own house together. But, of course, things quickly change and Ethan and Mia's house is attacked. In all the chaos, you and your daughter Rose are kidnapped. After being knocked unconscious, you later wake up in the woods close to an unknown village with Rose and your kidnappers nowhere in sight. Throughout the game, it is your goal to find your daughter and do whatever it takes to bring her home. As you explore this Transylvanian-style village, you'll quickly realize that things are far from normal. There are unknown monsters trying to kill the residents, a massive unknown castle, and weird-looking enemies that keep talking about your daughter. Throughout the game, you will fight to stay alive and explore many new areas. I always enjoyed exploring the new areas in this game because each of them has their own unique feel and enemies. Each of these areas are littered with many different puzzles and secret collectibles that will have you going back to see if you missed anything. As you explore these different areas, you'll notice almost everywhere you go is extremely detailed. You can tell the developers at Capcom spent a lot of time making this game really look amazing. Every single room in this game is filled with detail that truly brings this game to life and makes you feel even more immersed. As you progress, the enemies and bosses you will encounter will progressively get more difficult, but you'll also become more powerful due to your weapons and new abilities. Towards the beginning of the game, you'll meet a traveling merchant that will help you sell your unwanted items, buy new upgrades, and even improve your weapons. This merchant is a key role in this game, and he will always be there to help you out. Because the merchant plays such a big role in this game, you will constantly find yourself visiting him to progress the story and make Ethan's weapons even stronger. If you're familiar with the Resident Evil franchise, this game works in a very similar way to the games before it.
As you fight your way through the game, you'll have to scavenge for ammo and other items to help you craft the necessary items to help you keep moving forward. Similar to the Resident Evil games before it, this game forces you to always be aware of your surroundings and make sure you have the necessary resources to survive. Of course, this game wouldn't be a Resident Evil game if it wasn't a little scary, and Resident Evil Village does a great job of keeping you on the edge of your seat. If it's from the extremely dark rooms you have to walk through, or just the random enemies that jump out at you, I always found myself being a little nervous to see what was around the next corner. Because of Resident Evil Village's great story, great environment, and scary gameplay, it's no question why this game is truly a 10 out of 10.
KZLX is a student-run radio station where Northwest students have complete freedom during their shifts. KZLX also hosts mini radio shows such as Nerdmageddon, Revive, Day-to-Day Picks, and more. To learn more, visit kzlxfm.com.
Welcome back to The Middle Bit, folks. I'm your host, Jonas Pelot.
And I'm your other host, Garrett Bevans.
Today, we're talking about finals week. Now, it's coming up soon.
Oh, hold up, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but guys, I know it's kind of hard to pay attention. To help you out, we have Subway Surfers below us to help you focus. So, Jonas, as you were saying.
Yeah, finals week is coming up, so you gotta study. Make sure you're studying for your finals. You can't just wing it. Make sure you're eating good, drinking plenty of water, make sure you're sleeping right, and hygiene.
Yeah, hygiene, absolutely. Also, go outside, get some fresh air, go out, go for a car cruise maybe, and, touch grass, because, that's also good for us.
Very important. Yeah. Take care of your mental health, folks, and subscribe to Gentoo.
Yeah, that does it. Thank you, guys.
Take care.
Hello, my name is Evan, and welcome back to The Price is Free. This week, we are talking about Landfall Archives, a collection of small, unfinished projects from Studio Landfall using Unity, the open source game engine. With 20 demos in total, ranging from almost finished games with campaign and sandboxes, to the most bare-boned projects having just the base movement and gameplay built in. The setting used for in-between segments when loading the different games is very interesting and fitting, going into an underground secret bunker in the top of a snowy mountain. The bunker being a massive archive with filing cabinets as far as the eye can see, then a lone computer next to scattered files and the demo games, which look like old VHS tapes, to be loaded into the computer and play, giving that feeling of breaking into a top secret bunker, playing these top secret games that no one else is supposed to know about. Landfall Studios has quite the collection of games they have published that you probably know about, maybe seeing a content creator on YouTube or Twitch playing them, but don't know about the studio itself. They are known for making goofy, physics-based games, not taking too much brain power, but just more fast, goofy fun that you can have playing with friends or on your own. They have made games like Totally Accurate Battlegrounds, Cluster Truck, Stick Fight, and the game that brought them into the limelight, Totally Accurate Battle Simulator, or TABS. They have dozens of other games that they have published, and if you want to check them out, then go to landfall.se to see all the games that they have available for purchase right now. Out of the 20 games, 2 really stood out to me and felt more completed than the rest. First is Blob, which has a Stanley Parable feel to it, only having one objective.
Those screaming ghosts belong down the hall, don't you agree?
The commentary is what makes it entertaining though, giving me a good laugh anytime the man on the intercom talked.
Legal just told me that I'm obligated to issue an epilepsy warning. So, 3, 2, 1, go!
Anything from my pals spooked me at first when I started, then I got into the fun of controlling the friends and playing those few levels that were made, making me wish that this game was put further into development, having the potential to make a top puzzle game on a unique concept. I did run into a few bugs while playing through, having problems with crashing when trying to load certain games, and when a game would load, that I'd have to hope the controls would actually work, because that wasn't always guaranteed either. My mouse wouldn't lock to the center of my screen for most of the games I did play, so I would end up accidentally tabbing out by clicking off my screen, which became certainly frustrating after a while. Thank you for tuning in this week for The Price is Free. I hope you enjoyed these goofy demos. Make sure to check out Landfall Archives to see the rest of the demos that I wasn't able to show here, or maybe even buy one of their own games that they have published, because they are definitely worth the money and time for how much fun they can be. Check back next week to see another great free game. I'm your host, Evan. Peace out.
Welcome back to Mustard's Monthly Mayhem. This week's game to finish off the month of May's free games is going to be Code Vein. Code Vein can be simply described as the anime version of Dark Souls, but let's go ahead and take a deeper dive. Code Vein takes place in a future apocalyptic world where your character explores and fights different enemies in search of blood beads. These blood beads are the common substitute for human blood to these revenants, or vampires. With the springs drying up, there are fewer and fewer blood beads, causing a panic throughout the community as they try and contain their bloodthirst. The game starts off with a mini tutorial as it teaches you the basics. However, it's not that long and drawn out like most tutorials tend to be. This one was nice and straight to the point, as most of the learning will be done with different items you gather down the road. With blood being the main focus of the game, it felt natural that there are blood codes, which is a fancy way of saying what style of a fighter you become. The initial codes given to you are Fighter, Ranger, and Caster, which are the basics, but they can be built upon. A nice feature that the game took into consideration is that besides just the abilities changing from class to class, you also can or can't wield heavy weapons. For example, the Fighter class can pick up and use heavy weapons that are slower but deal more damage, while the Ranger and Caster classes use lighter weapons that give more mobility but do less damage. I like that while some classes are better than others, the game makes an effort to accommodate everyone's playstyles accordingly. Like previously mentioned, there are different items that you can equip for each class, with the main items being called gifts. These gifts are abilities or special moves that require Ichor to use, with the more powerful ones costing more, so it's important to manage it during the fights. A good aspect of this game comes from the stamina used to halt button mashing or spamming abilities. This was a concept to me that was hard to deal with, as a lot of the mobs charge you, and especially early on you can waste a ton of stamina and be caught defenseless. The sheer power of some of the bosses can also be a pain to deal with, as one hit took over 300 health points out of my 850 in a specific fight. Without the companions they send out with you on missions, it would be nearly impossible to survive. One of my biggest gripes about the game comes from the Caster class. The Caster class opens up magical abilities, and the main one I tried to focus on was the Blazing Roar. Without crosshairs and a small description of the ability, it became apparent that this ability, while powerful, was not worth the fuss to try and use. I struggled with the timing and getting the right distance, but just when it seemed like I got one right, the other was wrong, and it almost never landed. Overall, this game was interesting to say the least, as it was one of the first introductions to a Dark Souls style game for me. I can easily see why people can get addicted to these types of games and spend hours on them, as there's a lot to do and a lot of upgrading or customizing that can be done. This was neither the best nor the worst game that I have reviewed so far, which leads me to give it a solid 7 out of 10. This definitely fits perfectly for some people's genre of video games, so it's worth a try. That is all for now. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss next week's episode of Gentoo.
Hello, this is Gabe Chadwick with RPGeeks, where we look at some of the greatest RPGs of all time and look at what is good about them and what may be below average. Today, we're looking at Nier Automata. Nier is one of those games that I have nothing bad to say about on any level. The game is the closest I feel a game can come to perfection, because it not only gives an amazing narrative and deep and intriguing characters, but it also functions perfectly as a game. The combat in Nier Automata is a great plus when playing the game because it's so in-depth. I have played Nier Automata at least 100 times, and every time I come back to the game, I find a completely new technique that I've never seen before. This allows for a completely new experience every time I play the game and allows for endless experimentation. When playing Nier, I can never get enough of the story and characters. The main plot on the surface is very simple. Aliens took over Earth and sent machines to kill humanity. So humans supposedly evacuated to the moon and created androids to eliminate the machines and then the aliens. But the beauty of the story is that it isn't about the humans or aliens. It's about the conflict of the machines and androids, and how these groups really aren't that different from each other, which turns the narrative into a conversation about nihilism and vilifying the enemy, and what it truly means to fight for a cause. These themes are delivered in such a unique and interesting way that allows Nier Automata to stick with you far after you play the game. This narrative also is split up into 3 parts where you play as 2B, the cold but caring swordswoman that cuts through her enemies. Then in the second part you play as 9S, the curious sidekick that begins to unravel the lies that both sides have been hiding. And finally, the last part of the game where all lies come crashing and burning down and everything is revealed. The story wouldn't be complete without one of the best original soundtracks of all time. The music in this game really sells the emotion and feelings of the characters. And along with this, there are some of the most beautiful and dynamic pieces of music I've listened to in a video game. And it urges you to keep going till you've reached the end. The gameplay, the story, and the music all culminate to create an unforgettable experience that I just can't get enough of. While many may say there is better, for my money, Nier Automata is that perfect balance of gameplay and story that creates one of the most enriching games of the 2010s, and maybe even of all time. Thanks for tuning in to RPGeeks and Gentoo. Make sure to like and subscribe and tune in next week to look at Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Welcome back to Indiana Jonas. I'm your host, Jonas Pelot, and today we're diving into Ready or Not, a brutal SWAT simulator made by Void Interactive. So let's get cracking. Welcome to Ready or Not, a tactical first-person shooter that takes place in the fictional city of Los Sueños. Here, the players will take the role of a SWAT officer, tasked with missions across the city. In these intense and realistic environments, you must bring order to the chaos by any means necessary. The game features both single-player and multiplayer modes, allowing for players to work together to complete objectives and have plenty of fun together. One of the standout features of Ready or Not is attention to detail in terms of gameplay mechanics and environmental design. The game's physics engine is highly realistic, allowing for more accurate weapon handling, bullet penetration, and environmental destruction. Players will have to carefully plan and execute their tactics using a variety of equipment and techniques to overcome challenging situations. There are over 35 unique weapons for you to choose from, plus extra equipment and gear for you to utilize, and there's plenty of customizability for your character, allowing you to take out different loadouts depending on the situation that you'll be going into. You can have fun with your friends and try and take on the situation non-lethally, usually resulting in you and your buddies getting killed by a meth addict with a knife.
Suspect killed.
The game also places a strong emphasis on realism and immersion. With authentic voice acting, sound effects, and music, players will be able to communicate with their team members using a variety of voice commands, adding to the tactical experience. There are also commands that you can shout at civilians to arrest them and get them out of harm's way. If you accidentally kill or injure a civilian or even a bad guy without probable cause or a visible weapon, you will lose points, forcing you to take the situation seriously and keep your wits about you. For more emphasis on the realism aspect of this game, the AI in the game will do its best to outthink you, with the baddies wandering around, hiding behind doors, setting up tripwires, faking surrender, and even playing dead after getting shot to get the jump on you. Ready or Not will force you to keep on your toes. Ready or Not is a fantastic game to play with friends and a real challenge by yourself. It is one of the most well-polished games that I've played in a long time and is an absolute blast to play. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below, and we'll see you next week.
Kirsten, what are you doing here?
What do you think I'm doing here? Making TikToks? And it's not about what I do. It's about what we do here. So we start with storyboarding the content we want to create for our clients. It could be anyone from small businesses, nonprofits, and organizations both on campus and in the Maryville community. We write, we film, we edit, we create, and then we wait. So if you're someone who thinks you need us, we are KNWT Creative Services.
Hey, it's me, Jackson, from Loosely Related. This week we have a very special episode as it's our producer Riley's birthday. Are you excited?
I'm so excited.
You should be too. Come check it out.
Hey guys, my name is Lauren Liberty and welcome back to Project Delta. And today I am joined by Matthew Rapp.
Also known as Dr. Matt Walker.
Oh, okay. Yeah, looks a little different to me.
Yeah, more handsome.
But today we're gonna play some Gang Beasts.
Yes.
I'm gonna be where'd it go? Purple Penguin for Gentoo. Purple Gentoo Penguin.
And I'm gonna beat Gentoo as a grandma.
Are you challenging all of Gentoo?
You're Gen 2. You just said you were Gen 2, so yes.
Okay, are we doing?
I am versing whole of Gen 2, I guess, because you are Gen 2.
Okay, first to 3 wins. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. There's a grandma and a penguin.
Wow, you're really good at commentary. Did you know that? Oh, you were knocked out.
Yeah.
No, no.
Bro.
No, no.
She's gone.
No, I'm not.
She's gone.
No, I'm not.
Let's go.
No, dang, Grandma actually got moves. Okay, so you're on yearbook, all right?
Yes.
So what's your position on yearbook?
I'm currently the photo editor for Tower Yearbook. Oh! Oh no! Yes, Lauren, I'm currently the photo editor for Tower Yearbook. And knocked out cold like Mike Tyson. Yeesh. Should I dive after you? Bro, Grandma's got some hands. We gotta get on the other side of the blimp.
No, you can't. You don't get to be on the other side of the blimp. Oh! No.
I'm looking like Indiana Jonas over here. I'm gonna win this one.
No, you're not.
Yeah. Why are you running? You scared? Frick.
No, Grandma, you need to get out of here.
Oh, no! How did you do that? Grandma, don't quit.
Grandma quits.
Grandma quit.
Grandma quit. Let's go. We got to win for Gen 2. So what do your responsibilities include in your book?
My responsibilities include taking pictures, bonding with staff members, and I'm in charge of the photo
Grandma?
section. No!
Let go, Grandma.
No.
Let go,
no,
Grandma.
No.
Grandma,
no,
it's for your own good.
no,
Grandma,
no,
it's for
no.
your own good. No, Grandma! That's so rigged!
Let's go!
Bye, Grandma.
No!
Yeah!
It's tied 2-2. This is actually
2-2.
intense.
Next win wins.
This is really hard to talk about what I do and play this game at the same time. Bro, you're not gonna throw me off.
Bro, what are you doing? Bro.
You're done. No! You're done! Let's go! Dub for Grandma. Woo! Oh, here you go. Well, that was this week's episode of Gen 2, guys. Thanks for being on the show, Lauren. It's been a pleasure having you as I beat all of Gen 2 at Gang Beast. So stay in tune for next week's episode. I don't know what it's going to be, but you will next week. Click subscribe, click the bell, comment. We're out.
Bye.
That's the end of this episode of Gen 2. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to not miss our next episode.
We hope you guys enjoyed this episode. See you guys on next week's show.
Lauren, can you please put Subway Surfers back on the prompter?
Anything like Minecraft parkour,
I
that
know,
could work.
I know we skipped out on vacation, all right? But you don't have to punish us by taking away the Subway. I mean,
I can't concentrate.
Seriously, like
I've
even those
messed
like
up so
really
many
bad
times.
games.
Yeah.
I just can't read my lines.
I don't. I just can't comprehend. Reddit stories. We're gonna read someone's personal story on the internet without their consent or permission.
They posted it on Reddit. That's their fault.
I think we should just crank that Soldier Boy for like 30 seconds. Do we get snacks after this, Mom? Are you driving us back home in your minivan?
I want Kool-Aid.
No, she said you get snacks.
Can we get the Scooby-Doo snacks?
No, I'm not.
Hey, this floor director's
I'm
getting
not-
kind
I
of
didn't say
uppity out
anything.
here.